What if I told you right now, at this very moment, your ex is thinking about you, but they'll never admit it? Maybe they're lying in bed, scrolling through your old messages, rereading conversations they once took for granted. Their fingers hover over the keyboard, fighting the urge to reach out. But they don't. Not because they've moved on, but because their ego won't let them. Sounds unbelievable? Psychology says otherwise. Breakups don't just end feelings. Studies prove that losing someone you were emotionally attached to triggers the same withdrawal symptoms as drug addiction. That's right, your absence isn't just a missing piece in their life. It's a void their brain is desperately trying to fill. And here's the twist. The more they suppress it, the stronger it gets. So today we're breaking down 5 deep psychological reasons your ex secretly misses you in silence. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why they can't stop thinking about you and how to make that feeling even stronger. Let's unlock the psychology behind their hidden feelings. Number 1, the Zeigarnik effect, the unfinished love story that haunts them. Picture this. You're watching the most gripping edge-of-your-seat movie. The tension is rising, emotions are at their peak, and just when you're about to discover the shocking twist, the screen goes black. No ending, no closure, just an unbearable void that leaves you restless, desperate for answers. That's exactly what happens in your ex's mind if your relationship ended without a clear resolution. Psychologists call this the Zeigarnik effect, a powerful mental trigger discovered by researcher Bluma Zeigarnik. Her studies prove that our brains are wired to obsess over unfinished business. We hold onto incomplete experiences far more intensely than ones with a clear ending. And that's why, no matter how hard they try to move on, your ex's subconscious keeps hitting replay. Over and over, they'll hear your laughter in quiet moments. They'll feel your presence in the places you once shared. And worst of all, they'll be haunted by the question, did I make a mistake? What if I had just tried harder? Is it too late to fix things? This isn't just nostalgia, it's psychological torture. The more unanswered questions they have, the more their mind fixates on you. And that's why silence from you doesn't mean they don't care. It means they're battling an invisible war inside their head. Psychological power move. Make your absence impossible to ignore. Here's where most people mess up. They chase. They beg for closure. They send one last message hoping to get answers. But doing that, it ends the story for them. Instead, here's what truly makes your absence unforgettable. Leave them with the mystery. Be the unfinished chapter they can't stop rereading. When they wonder where you are, what you're thinking, if you ever even miss them, they're still emotionally invested in you. And that's when you win the breakup. Number 2, the hindsight bias. Why your ex can't stop missing you. Have you ever noticed how the past always seems better in hindsight? Like those childhood summers that felt endless, or that old song that suddenly hits different years later? This isn't just nostalgia, it's hindsight bias, a powerful psychological trick where the brain rewrites the past, making it seem better, or sometimes worse, than it actually was. And here's where it gets interesting. Even if your relationship had its ups and downs, your ex is now filtering out the bad parts and clinging to the good. That lazy Sunday morning when you made pancakes together, they remember the warmth. That inside joke only you two understood, it lingers in their mind like an unfinished melody. The way you used to look at them when they talked about their dreams, they're realizing no one else sees them like that. Psychological studies show that the more time passes after a breakup, the more our brains edit the story. We downplay conflicts, forget the arguments, and amplify the happy moments. And this is why right now, even if they don't admit it, your ex is looking back and wondering, did I just let go of the best thing I ever had? Here's the secret. Don't chase them. Don't remind them of the breakup. Instead, focus on becoming the best version of yourself. When they hear through mutual friends, social media, or even just the energy you give off that you're thriving, it triggers regret. Because suddenly they're not just missing who you were, they're missing who you're becoming. And trust me, that realization, it hits different. Number 3, loss aversion. Why losing you hurts more than they admit. Imagine this, you're holding a $100 bill. Suddenly it slips from your fingers and disappears into the wind. You'd feel a pang of regret, right? Now imagine someone hands you a $100 bill out of nowhere. You'd be happy, but that joy wouldn't hit as hard as the pain of losing it. That's loss aversion in action. Our brains are wired to fear loss more than we celebrate gain. Nobel Prize winning psychologist Daniel Kahneman discovered that losing something feels twice as painful as gaining something of the same value. And when it comes to relationships, that pain isn't just financial, it's emotional, psychological, and deeply personal. Your ex may act unbothered right now. They might even pretend they've moved on. But here's the truth. Their subconscious is running a silent comparison. Am I happier without them? Is my life better now? Does this new person even come close? And more often than not, their brain answers no. Because when you walked away, you didn't just take your presence, you took the love, security, and emotional connection they once had for granted. Mind hack, here's where most people go wrong. They try to remind their ex of their worth with texts, calls, or long emotional messages. But psychology says that only makes you look more available. Instead, let silence do the talking. The less they hear from you, the louder your absence becomes. Think about it. You never crave air until you're gasping for breath. And the moment they realize your presence isn't a guarantee, that's when the weight of losing you truly sinks in. Because the cruel irony of loss is we only recognize true value when it's already gone. Number 4, the scarcity principle. The irresistible power of absence. Have you ever noticed how we want what we can't have? The moment something becomes rare, it suddenly feels priceless. Psychologist Dr. Robert Cialdini calls this the scarcity principle. When something is limited, our brain automatically perceives it as more valuable. And guess what? The same rule applies to relationships. Right after a breakup, your ex assumes you're still there, that you're waiting, that they still have access to you. But the second you pull away, their world shifts. The mental war begins. Wait, why haven't they reached out? Are they already moving on? Did I make a mistake? This isn't just curiosity, it's psychological panic. Your absence triggers a void, and suddenly they start questioning everything. The more unavailable you become, the more desirable you seem. Mind hack. Silence is your superpower. Stop feeding their ego. No I miss you texts. No quick replies to their half-hearted messages. No checking their stories or liking their posts. Because here's the truth. The harder you are to reach, the more they will chase you. And when they finally realize they lost something rare, that's when they truly start to miss you in silence. Number 5, emotional attachment doesn't just disappear. The subconscious bond. Imagine this. Your ex is scrolling through their phone, mindlessly swiping through photos when suddenly, there you are, a memory they weren't prepared for. Maybe it's a picture of you laughing, a song you both loved, or even just an old text buried in their chat history. In that moment, their chest tightens. Their stomach drops. Why does it still hurt? Here's the truth. Breakups don't erase emotional bonds because your brain is wired to hold on to them. Science proves that emotional attachment is stored in the brain's limbic system, the same part responsible for deep-seated memories and survival instincts. It's why you still remember childhood fears, why certain smells transport you to a different time, and why love, even when lost, leaves an imprint that refuses to fade. Even if they tell themselves they've moved on, their brain won't let them. A groundbreaking study from the Journal of Neurophysiology found that seeing a photo of an ex activates the same brain regions as physical pain. That's right. Missing someone isn't just emotional, it's neurological. It's why they feel a dull ache when they hear your name, why they avoid certain places, why they pretend they're fine, when deep down, a part of them still longs for what was lost. So what do? They distract themselves, burying their emotions in work, numbing their feelings with new hobbies, maybe even dating someone new. But no matter how much they try to overwrite your presence, their subconscious keeps pulling them back. Because you weren't just a person to them, you were an experience, an emotion, a feeling they can't replace. Mind hack, want to make them miss you even more? Don't chase, don't beg, don't explain. Instead, focus on becoming unforgettable. Live a life so exciting, so fulfilling, that when they do think of you, they're not just reminded of the past, they're haunted by the thought, wow, I let go of someone extraordinary. And that's when they truly feel the loss. Here's the truth. Missing someone in silence isn't about love. It's about the way the human brain processes loss. Right now, your ex might be laughing with friends, scrolling through their phone, pretending they've moved on. But late at night, when the world goes quiet, their mind isn't. because psychology doesn't work that way. You weren't just a person to them. You were an experience, a habit, a part of their identity. And the brain hates losing what feels familiar. So if you've noticed these signs, it means one thing. You left a mark they can't erase. But now comes your choice. Do you want to be the one waiting in the shadows, hoping they reach out? Or do you want to step into your power and become someone they wish they never lost? Drop a comment below. Which of these psychological effects do you think your ex is experiencing right now? If this video opened your eyes, make sure to hit like and subscribe for more psychology-backed insights into the human mind. And remember, your value isn't up for debate. You were unforgettable then, and you're unstoppable now.